up, people? Welcome back to the garage, the live garage. This is weird. Um, so I was on YouTube TV, which is where I was going to watch the Critics' Choice Awards in less than an hour, and I'm kind of freaked out because the screen's black and I'm not getting a picture. So, mm, need to look into that. How's everybody doing tonight, though? How you guys feeling? I'm curious if you're excited, if you're nervous, who you're pulling for. I was going to share my predictions here. Let's see. There we go. So let's see. Let me go to the app real quick. I'm pumped. I am pulling for a big night for Anora. I think if you follow my channel, you probably know this, but Anora is definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. And I also am under the impression that if it does not start showing up on the circuit, it could be bad. Hasn't really won anything from a televised perspective yet. So I'm praying for Anora. The title of the video was Anora Save Me. I told everybody to light a candle for Anora. What are you guys pulling for tonight? So I've got it winning film tonight. A lot of people think it's going to be The Brutalist right here, which I could completely see. A lot of people say maybe Wicked. I could see that too. Let me do something real quick. I don't know why my sorry, I don't know why my camera's flickering too, but I'll figure that out before I record my reaction. Sorry. So I want to see what you guys are pulling for. Yeah, I'm pulling for Anora big time because, like I said, if it does not show up tonight, I mean, it could still win PGA. I don't think so, but it could. But aside from that, it would be a slim path for Anora going to the Oscars. So I'm nervous tonight. Normally, I don't put this much stock in the CCA, to be honest with you, when it comes to my Oscar predictions and hopefuls. But like I said, Anora's got to kind of start rolling. And it hasn't yet, aside from the small kind of critics groups that's been racking up. But the televised, the nationwide stuff, it has not really been doing anything. So I am nervous, much like I was with Sing Sing on Oscar nominations morning too, and Clarence Macklin specifically. And of course, that didn't go according to plan, nor did it at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. So Sing Sing, could have a good showing tonight too. Actually, let's see what you guys are doing. Hope everybody's doing good. So Jeremy says it'll be interesting to see what Amelia Perez takes home since the voting ended a while back. Yeah, I just did a video about that when I did my predictions for this show, which are on the channel, by the way, if you want to check them out. I think it's going to be interesting. Just the Amelia Perez thing is so weird because I know Carla Sofia Gason's not going tonight. She's not going to be there. I assume the rest of the cast, or at least those that are nominated, like Zoe and Jock Ayudard, they'll be there, producers, etc., Netflix people, I would imagine. So there's going to be people there to support the movie. And we already knew, even though I didn't get it, Jeremy, we already knew that the industry loves Amelia Perez. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And this is way before any of this controversy. I definitely don't understand it now because you have that piled on top of it. But you're right. It'll be, man. Oh my God. I'm going to film my reaction to these awards tonight that I'll put up for you tonight or tomorrow, depending on how long it takes me to put it together. But man, if Amelia Perez has a big showing tonight, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. Martin said, "Oh, I love all your videos. Excited for today. Thank you so much." Yeah, I'm a sick weirdo for award season. I'm way too into it, and it's become the focus of my channel, which I love, but it's always great to hear that other people kind of share my affliction for that and celebrating these films. I do my own award show. I mean, I'm crazy, so I can't get enough of like the end of the year awards coverage. So thank you so much for that comment. I appreciate that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record my reaction and then kind of piece it together because it's probably going to be like a 3-hour broadcast. So I'll piece it together and hit my reactions to all the awards after it's over. I'll edit that down for you. And I'll put it out hopefully tonight, but if not, tomorrow morning. Just because I reached out to some friends that have done stuff like this in the past, and YouTube is very strict about like copyright strikes and stuff. So it seems boring to me for you guys to like watch me watching it. So, and if we're on a delay and like maybe you guys know the winner before I do or vice versa or whatever, so I'll just record my reaction when I'm done with this stream and then I'll put that up on my channel for you no later than tomorrow. Um, and spoiler alert, if Amelia Perez overperforms tonight with the critics, I hope they didn't let us down. But if it does, my reaction may not be that great. But stay tuned for that. We'll see how it goes. Pulling for Mikey, I hope she gets a chance to get on stage. Me too. You know, I love her. I mean, I'm a Scream guy. I love her from as Ghostface. I've just been a fan of hers forever. And this was a perfect casting choice for Anora. Just nailed it. So I am ecstatic for her to start getting some televised recognition. And I think if she doesn't win tonight, Jeremy and everyone watching, if she does not win tonight, that's bad because the critics love Anora. Absolutely love Anora. If she can't win the Critics' Choice Award specifically, because she's got like 27 or 28 Critics Guild Awards leading up to tonight, if she can't win this, I just don't know how confident I'm going to be, definitely for the Oscars, but even going forward with various shows. It's just going to be tough. She really, really needs this. Anora really needs this. You know, Sean Baker could get screenplay. The DGA is an option, and I already mentioned the PGA is an option. But this is like almost a layup for Anora. That's why I predicted it when a lot of people went Brutalist. I think the critics really have loved Anora all year, so I don't have any reason to think that they're going to jump ship on that mission. Or at least I hope they didn't. You know, the Brutalist is great, but as you guys know, I mean, Anora is my jam, so I hope it shows up. I'm going to fix this when the stream ends. I don't know why my camera's flickering. It's driving me crazy. But I can't, like, fix it while I'm live, so I'm so sorry if it's bothering you. I'll try to figure out what's going on with that. So let's see. So I did pick Anora. For director, I picked... Oh, it might be because I'm sharing the screen, maybe. Look. Oh, no. I was saying when I moved it. Yeah, see when I move it, it flickers? I think my garage is haunted, guys. Did you guys watch my recent video? There was some weird shit going on out here. My camera was moving. Like, I heard noises. It was crazy. So I don't know why it's flickering. I'm so sorry. I'll get that fixed before the award show starts. So for director, I did pick Brady Corbet. I stuck with him. I think we're going to have a split, or at least I'm hoping we're going to have a split. Corbet director, Anora film. That's what I'm going with. And then ensemble, which they also do at the CCA, which is, you know, at the SAG, that's basically the movie. They're awarding the casting of the film, essentially, with ensemble. So I think that's going to go to Wicked. I don't think Wicked is going to have enough support to win Best Picture, especially since the CCA members know that they can fall back on ensemble or vice versa. So it's going to win one of the two, I would think. And I think the more likely one is ensemble. And then you guys see my girl here. Look at her. Look at her. That's your Best Actress right there for 2024. Man, I hope they show up for her tonight. I really, really do. I'll go back to your comments here in a second. I was going to go through these top of the line real quick. So I've got Mikey winning. Demi Moore, you know, I did that video and I was looking at the timeline, which really kind of opened my eyes a little bit because, like, voting opened for the CCA Awards, and then 2 days later was the Golden Globes. So a lot of people probably haven't even voted at that point because it just started and the LA fires and all that stuff. And then, obviously, Demi Moore won at the Globes for The Substance, which was somewhat of a surprise. I mean, not like a giant shock, but it was a pleasant surprise to see her win that and be recognized. And then she had that amazing speech, right? And all the stuff that went viral with her family watching it live. And, you know, I mean, just a great campaign thus far for her, like, personal growth in her career and finally getting that recognition. So the CCA seeing that right when voting opened, did they go home and fill out their ballot? Demi Moore, like, that was amazing. I'm crying, like, yes. You know, or did they stay true to what was, frankly, their favorite all season, which would be Mikey Madison? You know, did they let it sink in? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we'll find out, obviously. I also think that Marianne Jean-Baptiste could upset tonight. So I'm probably not the only person saying that, but just remember that I said that. That could be a possibility. She got the trifecta from the Critics Awards, like LA, New York, London, I think, the trifecta. And the critics love that performance, love that film, and it really, really underperformed. Her especially. Like, she didn't get nominated for half the stuff that we thought she was. I was predicting her too. Thought she would get nominated for. So that was a tough one for her. So look for her to maybe upset if the critics were like, you know what, let's give her some flowers because people are forgetting about her performance. So that's why I have her in third. But if she won tonight, I would love that. I mean, she was so good in Hard Truths. I mean, she basically just plays a Karen yelling at people for the first half of the movie, very angry. And then the second half of the movie, you kind of get to see what's under the surface. And it's a very, like, layered, multi-emotional performance from her. If you haven't seen Hard Truths, I would say check it out. She's phenomenal in it. I did leave Coleman Domingo winning for actor. Sue me. I don't know. I mean, report me if you want to. I don't know. He's got so many critics awards. This is a critics show. They love him. They love Sing Sing. They love him as a person in general. And then they loved his performance in this. It's such an uplifting, feel-good story. There's no controversy around that film or him or anything like that going on right now. And there, frankly, never has been. So I think he's going to get a lot of votes. I really do. I think he's the winner. I think Brody and Fiennes could win tonight, and that wouldn't be a huge surprise. But I'm picking Coleman Domingo. I mean, I don't know why. When I watch a lot of my friends do predictions and stuff, I don't know why people like jump ship. I just stay with my guys. You know what I mean? Until I'm proven otherwise. And with the critics groups across the country just raining down on Coleman for that performance, I don't see why that would change tonight. Of course, it could, but I'm sticking with him. I think Brody could have that narrative to leapfrog him if the same thing happened with Demi Moore when it comes to the Golden Globes, and them seeing that so fresh into the voting. Supporting actress, here's another one that, the controversy happened. I think Jeremy or someone mentioned it earlier. The controversy happened way before the voting, way after voting ended for this. So they had no idea, that Gaston was who she is, saying the things that she was saying, and Audard about, not studying the culture and underdeveloped countries and all. I mean, all that controversial stuff that's come out in the last couple of weeks. They didn't know about any of that. So when I do my predictions, for Critics' Choice, now Oscars is much more complicated, but when I do my Critics' Choice predictions, and it's worked out for me, pretty good track record in the last few years I've been doing it, the Rotten Tomatoes score among critics and audiences, frankly, and how it's been doing in the critics' circles regionally across the country. This is a very interesting category, supporting actress, because Zoe Saldana, Margaret Qualley, and Ariana Grande are all pretty much on the same lap. They're like one or two, give or take one or two, right there with each other. It's like 15, 14, 13. It was like they're all right there. So it could be any one of them. Somebody put the bad juju in the chat earlier about Emilia Perez. If Emilia Perez overperforms tonight and we start to hear that called a lot, then Saldana is probably going to win that. Qualley has, or I think Ariana may have passed her recently, but there was a period of time where Qualley had the most critics awards thus far, and right now I think she's only one behind Ariana. I'm picking Ariana Grande to win. I mean, I think they're going to want to give Wicked some recognition. I mentioned ensemble earlier. I think supporting actress is another gimme. So we'll see. I mean, it could be any one of these three right here. And frankly, it could be Isabel Rossellini too. I'm obviously I don't have her anywhere near the top, but I think it's Ariana. And then these two are like literally waiting in the wings to see if they were able to overpass. And then I think supporting actors, like the easiest thing in the world, Kieran Culkin. I mean, I don't even know if there's an award show that he could be challenged this season. I don't think so. I think he's going to win pretty sure-handedly, and I think he wins tonight. I think Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing would be my alternate, as I put in my predictions video, but I think it's probably Kieran Culkin. Let's see what you guys are saying over here. Sorry. So that's the top of the line. I'm going to end this probably about 10 minutes or so, just because I got to figure out what's going on with my camera, and I got to make sure I can watch it, because it was a black screen when I tried to watch it, which is weird. But also, I think my garage is haunted, so I told you that already. Yes, I do. I think normally no, but the scheduling for this was weird this year, right? It's much later. It's February. What day is it? It's February 7th. I think it was supposed to initially air on like the 20th or something like that. So it's much later. But voting opened literally at the same time the Globes were like sinking in and getting in the trades and like, the Globes were on that Sunday, I think the 3rd, and the 5th, that Tuesday, is when voting opened. I'm sorry, flip that. Voting opened on the 3rd. The Globes were on the 5th, right? Yeah, so 2 days after voting opened for the CCA. So that's why I think the answer to that question is yes, because obviously if you're in the CCA, if you follow awards, if you follow cinema, you're probably watching the Golden Globes, or at a minimum, you're reading the paper the next morning to see who won and what the headlines were and that kind of stuff. So I think unless they cast their vote immediately those first 2 days, which I'm sure some people did, but the majority of people probably had not voted at that point. So I think when it comes to an impact, to answer your question, if people saw Demi Moore win and saw that speech, that will have a residual effect. As a stand for Mikey Madison, I hope the effect is not too large to change what the front runner really had been all season. Until Demi Moore gave that speech at the Globes, Mikey Madison was the front runner. And I'm talking about since like May, like all year. And I actually was really worried because that front runner curse, that early front runner curse, is real. It's just hard to sustain that for like multiple months. And, that's the kind of challenge that she's facing right now. So I think it will have an impact for certain nominees that they were affected emotionally by that win. If Fernanda Torres was in here tonight, for example, that would have affected that, right? Because the Golden Globes and that like kind of surprise win and the emotionality of all that, and not to mention it's a phenomenal performance. So those types of things I think matter. And when it comes to the Globes and like the broad appeal, it's the new Globes, it's more international. So to answer your question, yes, I think it will have an effect in certain categories. We'll see how it goes. I am not predicting it to have that large of an effect, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it does. I just want to see Anora on stage accepting an award. Yeah. You're right about the screenplay winners. I think you can stream it, or I think they stream it in some capacity. The WGA, if that's what you're talking about. I don't know how to watch it, but I think you can in some capacity. But it's not going to be a nationally televised. It's not something that the general public's going to see. So you're right. But it starts here for Anora. And that's the key. It's got to start, you know what I mean? Because I don't think it would start at SAG. I really don't. I mean, they did like Anora. I mean, Anora did perform well for the SAG nominations. So that's a starting point. It's not like it didn't show up, like Sing Sing, for example. But they loved Wicked. They loved Conclave. A Complete Unknown, guys. They really liked A Complete Unknown. I don't think the critics like A Complete Unknown, at least not to the level of giving it awards tonight. I don't really expect it to win. I don't think I picked it to win anything. I saw Siobhan was in the chat. Maybe she can tell me because I can't remember my own predictions. But I don't think I picked it to win anything. God, Timothy. It's not going to start for him at CCA, and I know that. Guess what? I'm going to leave him number 1. People are going to come for me in the chat when Brody wins tonight. If he does, I'm picking Coleman Domingo, which then nobody's going to know what to do. So I love the chaos, frankly. Plus, I love Coleman Domingo. But Timothy is my number 1 until Brody has like multiple trophies on his mantle. And by multiple, I mean like 3 or more. So I think Timothy could win at SAG. In fact, he frankly should, based on the history of the Screen Actors Guild and what he did for that performance and what he's doing on the tour right now. And then the other bodies freaking love that movie, A Complete Unknown, PGA and DGA. So it's like, we don't know what it's going to win, but it's definitely going to be in the mix. So hang tight. But I agree with AJ. Anora's got to do something, and it's got to really start here, because I don't see it unless it like overperforms and kind of like wouldn't necessarily surprise me, but it would probably surprise a lot of people if it won PGA. I would love that, but I think that's more for like The Brutalist or maybe Wicked even. So it's got to do something tonight. Anora, please. If you have a candle, if you love me, if you love my channel, if you have a candle, you should be lighting it. I don't know what time they do. I don't know what time they do lead actress or movie, but if that's coming up, have a candle like ready to go. I mean, this is crazy. I'm freaking out. Okay, thank you, AJ. Let's see. Martinez says, I think CCA voting ended before. Yeah, that's what I meant. I misspoke. Yeah, oh yeah, it absolutely ended before the Amelia Perez stuff. When I did that timeline on my video, I'm sorry I misread that. When I did that timeline on my video, I think it ended on the 18th or something like that. I think voting ended on the 18th, and I think somewhere around there, and the controversy, the tweets or whatever, came out on the 30th. So there was like a 2-week period when the results were counted. Everything's done with CCA. So, with that being said, Amelia Perez could overperform tonight. The interesting thing about that is the Oscar voting is open right now until February 18th. The Academy, assuming that they're connected to what's going on and they know about the controversy, which I know the Academy itself does because they unfollowed her on social media. I mean, you don't just unfollow somebody unless there's a reason. So I know that they know about it. You know what I mean? But the voting members, how many of them know about it? How many of them are going to be like, oh, I'm just voting on the performance. She might be a piece of crap or whatever, but that's not what I'm voting on. I'm voting on her performance. I'm voting on the film, which obviously they loved it based on the number of nominations it's gotten. So that could be interesting if Amelia Perez does do well tonight at the CCA and the Academy voters see that. I'm asking you guys, you can throw it in the chat. So if they see Amelia Perez overperform tonight and win a lot of awards, let's just say, and they also obviously have seen the controversy, then how are they weighing that? So then do they go, oh, well, the CCA and that body basically gave us permission to vote for Amelia Perez? And do they turn around and now start casting votes for Amelia Perez for the Oscars? Or do they say, oh, I can't believe the CCA did that, based on the controversy. I'm not going to vote for that. I literally don't know. This has never happened. It's unprecedented. I have no idea what's going to happen. It makes it very confusing, but also at the same time, in a weird way, very exciting because you just can't really, I did predictions, but you just can't really predict what's going to happen. Are you talking about for tonight, Jeremy? For tonight, I have Coleman Domingo. I don't think Timmy stands a chance in hell to win with the CCA because the critics are a bunch of haters. It's not a critically loved movie. They look at it as a lesser than music biopic. They might say that that's not true, but that's what they think. Even the positive reviews, read some of the statements in there. I think it's a great movie. I think Mangold is a fabulous filmmaker. I predicted his directing nomination. I hated that Edward Berger missed, but Farjah got in there for the substance. So, the Mangold kind of surprise nomination wasn't a snub for Coralie, so I'm fine with it. And I was happy. It's not a formulaic traditional music biopic. It's not Bohemian Rhapsody. It's not even Walk the Line, which Mangold also did. It's different. It's a unique snapshot that frankly gives you very little information. And, I love that kind of uniqueness to that movie and to that iconic figure of Bob Dylan. And Timothée Chalamet, absolutely 1,050,000,000% is one of the best performances of the year. Now, the critics won't do that. They won't tell you that. It's not showy enough. It's not dramatic enough. It's not auteur enough, if that makes sense. Look, Adrian Brody is phenomenal, okay? Don't put me on record as saying he's not. He's probably going to win the Oscar. I'm sticking with Timmy for now, though. Tonight I picked Coleman Domingo, if that's what you're asking. I think Adrian Brody would be the alternate. So if Coleman doesn't kind of surprise win tonight, then it is Adrian Brody's, I think. Unfortunately, I think Timmy's down probably 4th or 5th on their list. There she is. There's my girl. She says, who are you talking about? Carla Sofia Gasson, or who are you talking about there? Splitting votes with Mikey or Demi. You're talking about Demi Moore, probably, right? Yeah. I think that's why I said, because I'm still picking Mikey to win, right? So I'm crossing fingers, and I'm of the mindset that they saw the Globes, they thought it was really cool, they applauded it, but they're going to stick with what they thought up until that point. I'm just telling you, if you go read any damn critic's review, and frankly, anybody in the CCA, find them on Rotten Tomatoes, they loved it. They loved it. So 93, I think I saw percent on Rotten Tomatoes, not to mention a high audience score for Anora. You look at a film like The Substance, which I mean, I'm the horror guy. It's not a mystery that I love that movie, but it's sick. It's gross. It's hard to watch. It's not a, sit down and sip your tea and, enjoy it with your pinky out. I mean, it's a hard film to like take in. Demi Moore's phenomenal in it, but if they're being true to themselves and they're looking at and they're drilling it down to a performance, and this is coming from the horror guy, Mikey Madison's performance, in my eyes, is award worthy, especially tonight with the CCA. So I'm kind of with you, Shaban. I think that, I hope that they took some away, or Demi took some away, but I hope not enough to win. Rooting for The Substance. Sorry. I am too. I love that movie. The fact that The Substance got nominated, period, that it's even going to be on a title card at the Oscars, the words "The Substance" are even going to be there, is like absolutely unbelievable as a horror fan. I literally can't even still believe it. Like, The Silence of the Lambs was what, 92? The Sixth Sense was 2000. I guess it would have been the Oscars 2000 year. Get Out, right? 2017. And even those three movies I just mentioned, what are they? They're psychological, like, thrillers. They're not body horror with like blood and pus falling off. Exploding onto an audience that looks like the Oscars audience, by the way. It's just I am so happy. Like, I literally can't stop smiling when I think about it. I can't believe that movie is a multiple nominated Oscar film. I just can't. In all my years of following the Academy, I would have never, because I think I didn't even put it in my final 10 till like maybe 2 weeks before the nominations came out, because it was kind of undeniable at that point. I still can't believe it. The nominations exist, and I still can't believe it. Every time I see it, I feel like there's a typo on the damn website or whatever. But I'm rooting for it too. It's a horror movie. I'm always going to pull for horror. What else we got? Coleman and Adrian are basically tied, neck and neck, according to the Critics' Choice tallies. Yeah. I agree. I think that those are your two. I think it's going to be one of those two. I don't think Timmy stands a chance. I think Ray Fiennes is kind of like chilling with his button undone, kind of like, sipping whiskey or whatever he drinks. He's ready. He's ready. He probably has a speech in his pocket or whatever. You know what I mean? He's beloved. Okay. I think he's your BAFTA winner when we get around to there. I haven't done those predictions yet, but I'm guessing I'm going to predict Ray Fiennes for the BAFTA. So he could sneakily get enough votes to win tonight. But I think you're right. I think it's one of those two. And I went with Coleman Domingo. Honestly, because, and this is going to sound bad, okay, but listen to me. Sometimes this is wishful thinking, too, when we do these things. You want to be somewhat accurate, but you want to also kind of put it out into the universe. But I know Timothy's not going to win tonight. I'm 99% positive that Timothy could not win this award tonight. So is it worse for Timothy if Brody wins or if Coleman wins? Obviously, if Brody wins, it's bad for my boy, okay? And his little mustache and everything. Like, it won't be good. So... And I love Coleman Domingo, too, so that's also a plus. So I picked Coleman, but I think you're right. I think it comes down to one of those two. Yeah, some people are saying Zoe, and frankly, it could be her. I went Ariana, not because of the controversy, because, again, you have to take that out of consideration, because it was like 2 weeks after voting closed that any of that stuff came out. So they were done voting. They were tallied up. Everything was done. So she won the Globe. Right? They saw that. Voting was open when that happened. She had a great speech. She was so emotional. Another actress that's been doing it for a long, long time and has not been awarded. And not only that, Avatar, Guardians of the Galaxy. Every freaking movie this woman's in is like $1 billion blockbuster. You know what I mean? She's like running Hollywood. And they probably love her and love her kind of influence and history in Hollywood. And maybe they want to award her for that, even though the movie's subpar at best. I definitely see a world where Zoe wins tonight. I am hoping that we don't get an Emilia Perez runaway, though. Obviously El Mal is probably going to win original song. That's fine. It's a banger. And Zoe could win this. But I hope it kind of stops there, honestly. And obviously I picked Ariana Grande to win, so I don't really want Zoe to win, but what I want less is like an Amelia sweep because then it's like, oh God, because then it's like the Academy's going to go, well, they gave us permission. They just gave this thing every award they have. So I want to vote for it. I'm going to vote for it. Carla's not going to be here. I'm not going to vote for Carla, but I want to vote for all this other stuff. I'm going to stop sharing the screen to see if that changes my, let me remove that. Hang on. See if it's still flickering, right? Can you all see the flicker? Tell me I don't know if I can see it or if y'all can see it. Tell me if you see the camera flicker in the chat. I can't tell if you can see that or not. I can see it. It's driving me crazy. Yes, Brittany. Oscars voting is about to start. Yes. So we have a very similar situation. Very, very similar. In fact, it's actually a little more exaggerated because Critics' Choice is tonight. This weekend we have DGA and PGA, right? I think there might be something on Sunday too. And I know the Costume Guild just gave out their annual awards. All that shit's happening in like a 3-day window. Is WGA this weekend? I should have had the awards calendar pull up. I can't remember. All that shit's happening, right? And then to Brittany's point, the next day, or like 2 days later, they start voting. So they're going to look at the CCA. They're going to look at PGA. They're going to look at all this stuff, and they're going to say, okay, Amelia Perez, won 8 CCAs. It got the PGA. I'm just hopefully being hypothetical here, but, it gets all this stuff. Then, yeah, I can vote for it. Where's my ballot, and it's Amelia Perez. And that would be a fucking living nightmare for me, okay? Please, I would rather them bring back Bohemian Rhapsody and give that the award this year. I mean, it's crazy. Sorry. That may have been too much, right? But yes, voting, it's an interesting voting window for sure. Mark says he's looking forward to tonight. It's delayed in California. Oh, okay. So they're not, you know what? I actually thought it was weird that they were doing it at like 4 o'clock on a work day. So I'm actually glad to hear they're delaying it for you guys. It's good that I'm not doing a live reaction then. I decided to record my reaction. In fact, I got to drop off here shortly. I decided I'm going to record my reaction and then like splice it together for you and put it on YouTube. So maybe by the time, Mark, it ends for you, if you come back, maybe my reaction will be up and I'll just kind of drill it down to me reacting to the different awards that they give out. Oh my God. MJB, let's go. That's my upset. That would be like, oh my God, yes. I mean, Mikey Madison is my girl, but if she loses, don't lose to, Demi Moore. Like, lose to Marianne Jean-Baptiste. Because then also that doesn't affect the Oscars race. So, oh, that's what you were talking about. Yeah. God, why'd you bring that? Why'd you do that? I got to open my other beer, by the way. I'm drinking Mick Ultra, guys, at the doctor's request. Because your boy is not necessarily in tip-top health, you know what I'm saying? So, but I called it a tailgate, so I hope you guys are drinking something over there too. Fingers crossed for Flo. What up, Mark? I agree, man. I picked the Wild Robot, but you know what? Actually, you know what? That's a good point. That's another situation where the Globes could have a huge influence. Because Flo upset there. Flo won that. And then all that stuff came out. I can't remember the director's name in Latvia, but all that stuff came out about him making it by himself on his computer and all that shit. Did you guys see that? I was like, what? In fact, my son, my 11-year-old Logan, saw that story and downloaded the, what's the animation app where you can like make your own animated movies that he used? Crap. If you know what I'm talking about, put it in the chat. It's like a really popular web-based app that you can make your own animation, and they have a free version. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, we got it for him on his computer because he was so impressed and like influenced by that. And it's it's an animated film with no dialogue. I think it's really special, man. And I think that Wild Robot has been like dominating all season. And for a little movie like Flow to come along, that would be really, really great. I mean, even if you look at The Boy and the Heron, you can't really compare that because that's Miyazaki and that's like, this legendary filmmaker. I mean, the animation's somewhat similar, but similar style at least. But yeah, you can't. I mean, this would be an unprecedented thing, really. I mean, it's one dude in his basement, like, I know he had a little bit more of a team with Flo, but as an animator, he spends like 7 years like making this shit on his laptop. I mean, it's like, yeah, please award the guy, that would be a phenomenal win too. I agree. Wild Robot Ravi is probably going to win. I mean, that's what I picked. I think if there is an upset, it's Flo though. Let me go through some of these comments because I got to drop off here. Let's see. AJ says, I wish Felicity Jones was nominated at CCA. She was my favorite supporting performance of the year. Yeah, she got in for the Oscars, so I didn't have her getting in there. So that was a big win for you if you were a fan of that performance. I just hated how she showed up in the second half of the movie. It's a really long film, and Brody, you know, eats up a lot of that time in terms of like acting performance. But she was really good in it. I agree with you. Okay, so Siobhan says it's next weekend. Okay, good. Need to take a breather. You know what I mean? Zoe could still win because of the voting period. I don't see how they wouldn't vote for Ariana in this case. It was very natural for her, and between both of them, it's a musical. Yeah, both of them being a musical performance. Um, it's a toss up. I mean, it's literally that's why I said her, and don't forget Margaret Qualley too. I mean, we were just talking about the substance. If you get a lot of sickos in that room that love that shit, you know. Um, and Margaret Qualley's been getting a ton of critics groups awards. I think my critics group awarded her actually. I have to look and see. Um, my picks are Ariana Grande. I'm not a giant Wicked fan. I liked it a lot. I like the musical on stage better, but I thought it was a great film. It was feel good, but I thought the performances were fucking out of this world. Like I did not expect Ariana Grande, who I love her music and stuff, but I did not expect to go into that movie and be like, oh my god, that's like an Oscar-worthy performance, and that's what I said, and now that's what it could be. Um, but you're right. I mean, they're both musicals, and then you have Margaret Qualley kind of sitting there too, all cute, probably biting her lip, the whole thing. So it could be, I mean, we'll see, we'll see. Let's see. Do you think there is a chance for a Wicked or The Substance upset in Best Picture, Best Director? Director, no. I don't think John Chu. Although it was a bit of a surprise when he got nominated. So I mean, you'll know when you're watching the show, depending on the order of the awards given out, you'll kind of know how much the CCA liked certain films or if they spread the love, you'll kind of get what their mission was. If Wicked, like we are just talking about Ariana Grande, for example, if Wicked starts winning, ensemble, Ariana Grande, production design, costumes, like you start seeing a lot of it, which a lot of that shit's almost a gimme. I predicted it to win like 3 or 4 tonight anyway. So then if it starts doing those other ones kind of on top of that, then yes, you'll stop about halfway through and you'll go, okay, they're voting for Wicked. Like anything they say Wicked on, they're voting for it. So I can't really tell you as we're sitting here. I don't think so, but I've obviously been wrong before, and it's a well loved movie, so it is definitely possible. The Substance I think is a harder sell, just because, like I said, it's not as universally loved. Even if because this is the CCA, so even if you look at the Rotten Tomato score, that's just like a simple statistic that you can look at and go, okay, well the critics didn't like that as much. I mean, obviously not every critic that's at this show voting on it is in Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm saying you can use that as a bit of a baseline. So The Substance could upset. I mean, anything could win tonight, but I don't, frankly, I give it like a 2% chance to win. Wicked has a much better chance. Wicked's probably like in third or fourth, like right around there. So if that one won, I wouldn't be nearly as surprised. And a lot of people would be happy about that. I would love to see Ariana Grande win above all else, though, when it comes to wins tonight. Ice Cold Guinness. AJ doing it big. That's different than Mick Ultra. Much different. My doctor would not like that. Are you in Ireland or you just like Irish beer? That's great, man. I love Guinness. Black and tans, the whole thing. I do all that stuff, man. I used to do all that stuff. I have to kind of chill out a little bit. It's a really strong year for animation. Yep. I agree. It's Flow is surprising. Flow is I've still got Wild Robot #1 in my power rankings, and I'm going to update those after all this shit happens this weekend. But if Flow wins tonight and it has the Globe, watch out. It's also with the Amelia Perez controversy and Oscar voting not being open. It's also pretty high on the international feature list too. So I might go out on a limb and do some brave predictions as we get closer to the Oscars, but it's not out of the realm of possibility because people love that underdog grassroots. Like I'm doing this with a couple friends of mine's story. I'm not a giant studio like Disney or DreamWorks, and I do too. I mean, I think that's really, really commendable. And on top of that, it's such a great film. Um, but watch out. I mean, if it wins CCA tonight, which I'm still predicting Wild Robot, but if it wins CCA tonight and it has the Globe, it hasn't lost. Televised award, it has not lost. My son's 11. Okay, he loved it. He freaking loved it. Adults obviously love it. I did too. Um, it is a very creative film that is going to speak to a lot of people, and it has a spotlight on it right now. Whereas Wild Robot came out, what was it, in the summer, I think, right? Or the end of the summer, like right when school was going back. So, I mean, yeah, it's a good year for animation, and frankly, we can't lose if one of those two movies win because they're both phenomenal. Um, Flo, yeah, and Flo did win in New York and LA too. She's right. So the critics, it's not like they dislike it. Wild Robot had a ton of critics groups that were like 35 or something like that, something crazy. But Flo's catching on to the momentum, and sometimes you can't really measure that. I mean, it's the momentum, and at the right time, being in the right place at the right time is what it is. And the same thing with Demi Moore with The Substance. It's the right place, right time, right momentum, right when voting is open, XYZ, and we're there. So we'll see what happens. I got to go so I can film my reaction. Let's see. Do you think Wicked overperforming could give the movie a higher competitive? Yes. Yes. If voting opens for the Oscars in like 3 or 4 days, if it overperforms here, and then you don't forget you have DGA and you have PGA. If it wins PGA, it's winning Best Picture most likely. I mean, it's a really, really good shot, and that's going to like kind of throw everybody's predictions into a tizzy because they're either expecting Anora or The Brutalist for PGA. Most people, but Wicked and Conclave are right there. So those are your top four. Okay, I'm just telling you right now. I know people love other movies and whatever, and I do too. But Wicked, Conclave, Anora, and The Brutalist are your top four. One of those movies, 99% confident, is going to win PGA. Whichever movie wins PGA should be extremely high on your Oscars predictions for Best Picture. If Wicked wins PGA, Sonny Bear, to answer your question, then you are in great shape for an Academy Award, especially with voting opening so shortly after those awards being given out. The CCA is not going to have as much of a bearing on what the Academy does, but they do take it into consideration, and they do share members, etc. So, yes, to answer your question, it could have an effect. I got to go, guys. You're in Wicked drinking Irish beer, or you're in Wicked. You're in Virginia drinking Irish beer. 2 animated films. Yep. Yeah, I saw that too. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. He was with his dog. This is the director of Flow. He was with his dog on the bed watching it, and it's like, oh, we got nominated. And it's just fucking chilling. So it's great. Guys, thanks for watching this live stream. So my plan, just so everybody knows that's watching, because you guys are awesome. I know you'll tune in. So I'm going to react. I'm going to pull it up here. I'm going to film my reaction live. And then when the broadcast ends tonight, when my kids are asleep and all that, I will splice together the film categories, the major ones. I don't know how long the video will end up being. And you'll see how I reacted to these winners. And then I might talk briefly at the end about the impact I think it's going to have on the Oscars. So look for that on my channel tonight or tomorrow morning at the latest. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this live stream. You guys are the best. Anora, Mikey Madison, guys. I'm not saying I'm going to blame you if she loses tonight, but I'm just kidding. I won't. Do I have any candles lit out here? All right, grab a beer. Enjoy the Critics' Choice Awards. Let's just have fun. Let's celebrate these films. I'll be back tonight or tomorrow morning with my reaction video. Thanks, guys.